Merlin is collecting mushrooms out in the forest when he's startled by a loud screeching noise. A griffin bursts out of the trees and hurtles toward Merlin. Though he makes a run for it, he trips over and is just about to be torn to shreds when a dark-haired youth steps in front of him. He swings a sword at the creature, but it shatters on impact, giving the two of them enough time to take cover under a fallen log.
Run! Run!
Once the griffin takes to the air and just before he passes out from the wound he sustained in the fight, Merlin's rescuer manages to introduce himself, Lancelot.
You saved my life. I'm Merlin.
Lancelot.
Back at the castle, Gaius assures Merlin that Lancelot's wounds are superficial and that he'll be back to normal in no time.
Fever will pass. He should be fine by the morning.
What creature could have done this?
We found no tracks, in or out.
Arthur and others survey the damage done to an outlying village and ascertain that the winged monster has a taste for human flesh.
And it took no livestock. Whatever it is, it has a taste for human flesh.
Having recovered from his wounds, Lancelot stares out at Camelot from the castle windows and shares his ambition with Merlin to become a knight of Camelot. Eager to repay his debt to Lancelot for saving his life, Merlin promises to talk to Arthur on his behalf.
I'm gonna talk to him right now.
Arthur is clearly having difficulty recruiting new knights, as the latest contender for knighthood is taken down by Arthur in 2 swift blows. On hearing Merlin speak of Lancelot, he agrees to meet with him but reminds Merlin that anyone wishing to become a knight of Camelot must be of noble blood.
Unless your friend is a nobleman.
Merlin rushes back to Lancelot with the good news and asks if there's any chance that Lancelot is a nobleman. He's not, and Gaius is quick to point out that the first code of Camelot says that only those with noble blood can serve. Merlin rightly thinks that this is weirdly counterproductive to the well-being and ongoing safety of Camelot, and after hearing Lancelot's tragic backstory, parents killed in a raid, trained every day since then, vowed to fight against tyranny, he promises to give him the chance he deserves.
Whatever it takes, we'll make this right.
Merlin sneaks into the library where we get our first look at Geoffrey of Monmouth and uses magic to forge a seal of nobility for Lancelot, identifying him as the 5th son of Lord Eldred of Northumbria. Lancelot argues against such deception, but Merlin coaxes him into it.
We're not breaking the rules, we're bending them, that's all.
Next stop is Guinevere's house so that Lancelot can be measured for a suit of armor, though all of a sudden he's more interested in the girl that's doing the measuring. It's pretty damn cute, and Lancelot even summons up enough courage to kiss her hand before he leaves. Outside in the corridor, he's quick to ask Merlin what his relationship with Gwen is, and Merlin assures him that they're just friends. At the next training session, Gwen and Merlin adjust Lancelot's new armor and usher him forward to where Arthur has just completed his drills for the day. Lancelot introduces himself and presents his faked seal, only for Arthur to immediately knock him off his feet. Undeterred, Lancelot gets back up, only to be ordered to clean out Arthur's stables. He turns in confusion to Merlin, who, judging by the thumbs up he's giving him, considers this a step in the right direction.
Start by cleaning out the stables.
That night, Gaius tries to console Merlin on his disappointment over Lancelot, only to get suspicious when Lancelot wanders dazedly in, covered in grime and muck from the stables. The truth comes out, and once again Merlin finds himself on the receiving end of Gaius's patented death glare.
You bend the rules using magic?
The following day, Arthur approaches Lancelot, sharpening his sword, but fails to catch him off guard when he throws a nearby broom at him. Lancelot catches it easily, and Arthur challenges him to a sparring match. The two of them yank the bristles off their brooms in order to create staffs and begin to bout in the courtyard. Suitably impressed, Arthur tells Lancelot that he's just done basic training, but before anything more can be done, the warning bell sounds.
Just made basic training.
A flood of refugees pours into Camelot, having been attacked by the Griffin. Other and Arthur ascertain that it's moving toward Camelot, and Arthur begins to practice defensive strategies with his knights and tells Lancelot that his test has been moved forward in order to boost numbers. The following morning, the two of them sparred in the training grounds outside the castle, but just when it seemed Arthur had bested Lancelot, he feigned unconsciousness and threw the prince to the ground.
Do submit, sire.
Guards restrain Lancelot. Arthur gets up, apparently angry, and grabs his sword.
On your knees!
The scene cuts to the throne room, where Arthur is using his sword to knight Sir Lancelot. Morgana and Guinevere applaud him as he gets to his feet, though Arthur is a little suspicious about Lancelot's claims to nobility. As the celebrations begin, he sends a servant off to check Lancelot's credentials. Sure enough, while Merlin is busy congratulating himself over the ruse, Geoffrey is in the library, looking over Lancelot's seal and looking severely displeased. But meanwhile, the party continues as Arthur and Lancelot notice the appearance of Morgana and Guinevere. With his eyes on Morgana, Arthur reluctantly asks Lancelot if he thinks she's beautiful. Lancelot answers in the affirmative, but his gaze is fixed firmly on Gwen as she crosses the room to join Merlin.
I think our Sir Lancelot might have eyes for you, Gwen.
Don't be silly.
The following morning, Merlin and Lancelot stumble out of the bedroom, completely hungover.
2 miles more like it.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Gaius gives them a tonic to wake them up, but just then the royal guards burst into the room and seize Lancelot.
What are you doing?
King's orders.
The gig is up. Thanks to Geoffrey's study of Lord Eldred's genealogy, Lancelot is exposed as a fraud. He's dragged away to the dungeons and manages to reach messianic levels of graciousness when he has the following conversation with a repentant Merlin.
I pushed you. I made you lie. The choice was mine.
But there's no time for moping, as Gaius has just identified the creature as a griffin, a creature of magic that can only be destroyed with magic, as the Knights of Camelot are about to find out.
Born of magic, sire, and it can only be killed by magic.
The griffin swoops down into the courtyard, but despite the best efforts of Arthur and his men, they can only walk away with shattered spears. Arthur manages to scare it away with a flaming torch, but it remains unharmed. In the council chamber, Arthur disregards Gaius's claims that it's a creature of magic and orders Arthur to ride out with his knights to finish it once and for all. Before he leaves, Arthur goes to visit Lancelot in the dungeons. Arthur tells Lancelot that a horse is waiting for him at the stables. He wants him to leave and never return, even as Lancelot begs to be allowed to accompany him. But since Arthur is unaware of Arthur's actions in freeing the prisoner, he refuses.
Then let me ride with you, sire. I cannot.
As Merlin and Gaius practice a spell that will temporarily make a weapon powerful enough to defeat the griffin, Lancelot goes to Guinevere and asks to borrow a suit of armor. She obliges and then runs to Merlin to tell him that Lancelot is riding out to fight the griffin. Merlin is swift on his heels and demands to be allowed to go along with him.
I'm coming with you.
The two of them gallop into the forest after the knights. The two of them come across a clearing of fallen knights, Arthur among them. He's still alive and conveniently unconscious as the griffin bursts out of the trees, and Lancelot prepares his horse for the charge. Lancelot's theme music kicks in as he and the griffin gallop toward each other, and Merlin incants his spell. Blue fire that bizarrely sounds like electricity crackles around the point of the lance, and Lancelot scores a direct hit. Arthur wakes up just in time to see the griffin destroyed as Merlin scampers back to the castle. Though Arthur initially credits Arthur with the griffin's death, Arthur is quick to point out that it was Lancelot who did the deed.
Lancelot. Sire. You killed it, Lancelot!
Arthur is furious to see Lancelot's return and sends him out to wait. Merlin joins Lancelot outside and is shocked to find that Lancelot also has a brain to go with that noble heart. He knows that Merlin performed magic in order to help him slay the griffin, but he promises that he won't divulge the secret.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
At the same time, he can't bring himself to take credit for something he didn't do, and so he enters the throne room to speak with Arthur and Arthur.
But I cannot take the credit for what I did not do.
From Morgana's window, Gwen watches wistfully as Lancelot gallops away, as do Gaius and Merlin, the former confessing that Merlin did the right thing in granting Lancelot a chance to prove himself.
Till next time then, Sir Lancelot.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and smash the bell button. Write in the comments section what kind of movie you would like to see next.